Hello, I'm Staehle and I'm the owner and winemaker for Enkidu wine based here in Sonoma, California. And I'm here to present Shamhat Rosé. And this is a Rosé, Rhone style. And it is basically a GSM, actually I should say it's more like an MSG. And so this wine is about 50% Mourvèdre, and then it's about 30% of Syrah, and another 20% is going to be Grenache in this wine. Starting in 2006 was my very first rosé. I produced rosé just because I like drinking rosé, so kind of produced it really for myself. Rosé is a wine that really can go with so many different foods. It can go with your cheese, your fruit, and so forth, and then you can pair it with risottos. You can pair it, such as red mushroom risotto, even with pork, and with pizza, with ribs, and so forth. It's a very, very versatile wine, very enjoyable to drink during the summer months, but even later on. I mean, it's just because of its versatility that this wine produces. With the 2019 Shamhat, I mainly did whole cluster production on this, which means that we didn't drain off the juice from a red varietal to make the rosé, which I do a little bit of that normally. Normally it's right around 50% or so. Last couple of years it's been almost all whole cluster pressed, which means we harvest for rosé. So this is not a secondary or a byproduct of making our reds. This is basically a product of our determination to make a rosé that is going to be bright, with fruit that's not overripe, and with a lot of freshness to it. And so we harvest the Mourvèdre and some Syrah out of the foothills, Calaveras County, and then we also get a little bit of Grenache from here within Sonoma Valley itself. And so what I do with this wine is I barrel ferment it, and I like to barrel ferment just because it gives me another layer of complexity, a little more dimension, a little more grip to it. There's a texture that you get from barrel fermentation that you really don't get from tank fermentation. And I would say predominantly your rosés are going to be tank fermented. But in our case, ever since the beginning, since 2006, I have been barrel fermenting my rosés. They tend to be a little bit long-lived as well. I mean, I've had rosés that taste extremely good after 3 or 4 years, and still go really well with food. This wine takes about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks to finish a fermentation inside the cellar. It's a little bit cooler, and so those fermentations tend to go out a little longer. It will do a lot of stirring of the yeast, of the lees, where the dead yeast reside at the bottom of the barrel, and giving it again a little more complexity as well. And after about 6 months to 7 months, we will then bottle at that point. So it's a pretty fresh wine. I produce a fairly small amount. I produce only 75 cases to 100 cases annually on this wine. And it is best, I think, chilled, not too cold, actually. So a little colder than cellar, but not, but some refrigerators are below 40 degrees. I think this is really best served right around 45 degrees. Has a little bit more broad depth at that temperature in general. So enjoy.